Okay, so I'm gonna try and say this without sounding pretentious, pompous, or cheesy. So I have taken some of the most important exams of my entire freaking life. For example, my college finals, where my GPA was basically going to determine whether or not I get into medical school. And I've also taken multiple exams in medical school and managed to ace them as well. And all this was done while fasting. So I'll be sharing 4 strategies which have personally helped me along the way. And by the way, I'm not an arrogant twat. What's cooking, sapiens? Welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Arham and I'm a 5th year medical student at the University of Oslo in Norway. The very first strategy is that you want to be like a snake. Now, I'm not saying that you should go out there and start backbiting people or start snitching on people. That is not the kind of snake I'm actually promoting over here. However, what exactly do we associate with the snake whenever we see it? Poison? Death? Not that either. What I'm saying is that snakes are flexible. So flexible that a few weeks ago, I used to think that snakes actually did not have any bones. They were basically spineless creatures who would move like this. That's how flexible they are, or that's how dumb I used to be. But then what exactly is this flexibility that I'm talking about during Ramadan? So you can't be too rigid with your routines. So for example, you have to wake up at 4 in the morning for your suhoor. And suhoor, by the way, is for those who are not Muslims. Like suhoor is when you wake up in the morning before dawn or before sunrise and have your meal before you start your fast. Let's say you have to wake up at 4 a.m. in the morning and then head to the hospital. In my case, head to the hospital at 7 a.m. or 7:30 a.m. Then I know that I have this 3-hour window after having my meal, like from 4 till 7, where I can basically crack out studying. I can, be productive. I could script some videos. I could edit some videos. I could, do something instead of going back to sleep. So for me personally, it does not make any sense to go back to sleep after having food at 4 a.m. and, sleep for 3 hours and then wake up again because you have to be somewhere because you have this commitment. So whenever I have an early morning commitment, I will, stay awake and, be productive. And here's what the tricky part comes in. So when I do not have any early morning commitments, that's when I'll be flexible. I'll be like, okay, you know what? I don't have to wake up at 7 in the morning, so I can sleep till like 9, 10. I can get a good night's sleep, and in that case, I'll head to bed after having my meal at the morning or before sunrise. One example of this could be lectures. So I stopped attending lectures in medical school, and here is the link to that very video. The point being that lectures for me, they're not really a commitment, so I'll just prefer to sleep in that case instead of staying awake after suhoor. And man, oh man, trust me, you have to try working after suhoor, because that 3-hour window or 2-hour window where everybody else is asleep, the entire world is sleeping, there are no disturbances, no notifications on social media, everybody is basically, dead. You are the only one staying awake and getting your work done. It's just you and your work. The concentration and the flow state that you reach is absolutely sick. That is priceless. Strategy number 2 is the urgency factor, and here you have the slumping hours and the power hours, and these may vary from person to person. So my slumping hours or my power hours might not be the same as yours, so you need to figure out your slumping or power hours on your own by yourself without my help. Why did I just say that? And what exactly are these slumping hours and these power hours? The concept is quite simple. So the slump is basically when you are too tired, you're fatigued, and you don't have the energy to concentrate on your work. On the other hand, the power hours is the exact opposite, when you are full of energy and are able to focus and concentrate on the work that you want to do. For instance, in my case, I know that I have 2 windows of slumping hours. The first window where I have my slump is actually like 3 to 4 hours before I open my fast, and my second slumping window is actually window is actually like 2 to 3 hours after I open my fast, because I'm weird and I get really tired and lazy after having food. That's just me. On the other hand, my power hours are after suhoor, and secondly in the afternoon when I get back home from the university or from the hospital. Now before I explain how exactly the urgency factor comes into play over here, we need to establish one important principle. So in Ramadan, at least I have much more time to myself compared to non-Ramadan days, and that's because of 2 things. Firstly, I'm not spending time on having food, because whenever I have a meal, I also like to watch Netflix or YouTube, so I'm actually spending like 30 minutes easily per meal. So if I'm having like, let's say 3 meals a day, I'm spending 3 or 4 meals a day, I'm spending easily around 2 hours on just food. So by not having food in Ramadan, I'm saving that time, number 1. Number 2, I'm saving on top of that at least 2 more hours by not hitting the gym because I don't train during Ramadan. So in Ramadan, I actually have 3 to 4 hours more to myself. And this is where the Parkinson's law comes into play. So now I have more time to myself, and hence I'll be more lazy because work expands to fill the time that we allocate to it. I know for a fact that we all have been in a situation where we have 1 week to submit, let's say, a project or a thesis, but we don't work on it at all. But the night before submission or night before the deadline, we do everything, we just get done with all the work in one night, in a few hours. That's the point. So now that I have 3 to 4 more hours to myself per day, I might actually get a bit more lazy and not really focus on my studying that much. And this, my friends, is where the urgency factor is important. So if I have my slump at, let's say, 5 in the evening, I know for a fact that, okay, you know what, Arham, you have to get your work done before 5 p.m. because that's when your slumping hours start. So that creates this urgency that, okay, I have to get this work done before 5 p.m. It creates this deadline. So the Parkinson's law, that work expands to fill the time we allocate to it. Now I know that, okay, I have to get my work done before 5 no matter what, because then I'll be into my slump. And hence the urgency factor helps me stay motivated and more effective during Ramadan. Strategy number 3 is actually to save the best for the last or the first. And what exactly is the best and most effective study technique? Well, active recall. That we know for a fact by now. So we know that active recall is called active for a reason, and that's because it's quite active. It really sucks that brain power, that brain juice. It really sucks up. Your brain is active and it's sucking up that glucose from your blood. So it's a very tedious and effortful process. So you want to be doing active recall when you have enough energy in your body, when you are not tired, not fatigued, and you're feeling quite active and focused. And for me, that's in the power hours after suhoor or in the afternoon when I get back home. So yeah, do not save active recall for the slump because you will be too tired by then. You won't be able to really focus. So the point being that save the most effortful process for the time when you have the most energy. So the fourth strategy is actually the most simple one, and for some very odd reason it's simple yet the most underestimated, and that's what I like to call slow fuel. Guys, for your suhoor, for your meal, you want to have slow food fuel. You want to have complex carbohydrates because complex carbohydrates release energy or release glucose into your bloodstream slowly and through the span of the next few hours because they are not digested that easily compared to simple carbohydrates, which do not get absorbed into your blood really fast and give you that spike in your blood sugar, real spike, and then your blood sugar falls back to down again very fast. So complex carbohydrates release energy throughout in your bloodstream throughout the next few hours, keeping it quite stable. So you want to have complex carbohydrates, and my personal favorite has to be oatmeal any freaking day. And trust me guys, I can really feel the difference in my body and the way I feel the days when I have complex carbohydrates and oatmeal for my suhoor. Try it out, I'm telling you. That's a wrap for today's Sapiens. Now let me know in the comment section below if you also have any tips and experiences which might be useful for us during Ramadan. And by the way, here is a link to a video where I explain why I stopped studying in medical school for more than 2 hours a day. I'll see you guys on the other side. And before you leave, hit that subscribe button. Take care.